Okay. Hey guys, what's up? It's Kyle9965. Just doing a quick video, really quick. My last video, I showed you guys a video of when I bought the Money in the Bank 2011 DVD, pay-per-view DVD. And in my last video, I explained that it wasn't a DVD review, and I explained that I was at this pay-per-view live in Chicago, here in Chicago, and I gave my views and opinions from a live perspective. But I watched this DVD twice. I watched it yesterday when I bought it, and then I watched it again today. And so I just thought that I should give a DVD review, because like I said, this is my first time watching it, on TV, compared to when I saw it actual live on July 17th. So this is going to be a review on my perspective of watching this pay-per-view on TV, which is on the DVD here. And my perspective of it is just as good watching it on DVD as it was when I was there live. Like I said, I watched this pay-per-view yesterday, then I watched it again today. And this is a really good pay-per-view. I mean, like I said, it was good, live in person, but to even see it, on DVD and watch it here at home on your own television, it's just as good. The crowd was just, like, absolutely amazing. I mean, you can feel it when you were there live, but, like, when you watch it on the actual DVD, you can still feel it, the electricity in that Chicago crowd. And watching it on DVD gave me the perspective of, like, it kind of, the way the crowd's reaction, like, towards the John Cena CM Punk match, it kind of reminded me a lot, like, of the Rob Van Dam John Cena match at the ECW One Night Stand pay-per-view back in 2006. The crowd reminded me a lot like that, how everyone, where, the challenger, was facing John Cena, had the home field advantage, and how, like, everyone just hated Cena. Like I said, watching it from the DVD just made me think about that a lot. Like, in Chicago, we were booing Cena a lot. I don't think we were as vocal and as rowdy as the ECW crowd on the One Night Stand pay-per-view, but we were booing Cena. The only difference between the Chicago crowd and the crowd that was, I think, in Philadelphia, that's when they had the One Night Stand pay-per-view, was that those guys were, like, literally, like, vocal, like, they were saying F you, Cena, and, Cena's a piece of SHIT, and, all this other stuff, they were, like, swearing. We didn't swear at Cena, in Chicago. We were booing him, but, from the time he walked in to the time he left out of that building, we were booing him. But, we were never, like, that vocal, to that extent. We were, like, swearing and cursing him out, like the ECW crowd was. But, just that feeling of, like, your guy has a home field advantage, and it just kind of reminded me a little bit of the One Night Stand, a little bit how you had John Cena, who's like the the face of the WWE, and then you had the challenger Rob Van Dam, and the Money in the Bank, which is CM Punk. Rob Van Dam and CM Punk, they aren't the biggest, strongest guys, on the roster. Or in the WWE, they're not the most muscular, fit guys. And you would think that they would lose, to a big guy like Cena. But, like I said, having those two guys represent their, home, in their hometown, they have home field advantage, and getting the victory over Cena. It reminded me a little bit like that. Although I think the CM Punk Cena match had a better story to it that just added an extra layer and depth to the Cena and Punk match, unlike the Van Dam and Cena match at One Night Stand. But it just really reminded me of that, just watching this from the DVD. Like I mentioned in my last video, the other match you had was the Raw Money in the Bank ladder match, SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder match, Big Show versus Mark Henry, Kelly versus Brie Bella, Randy Orton versus Christian for the world title, and then John Cena versus CM Punk for the WWE Championship. So I'm not going to go down the list and explain much of this in depth, because I kind of did that in my last video. So, like I said, after watching this on TV twice, my own home, compared to when I was there live, I felt the exact same way watching it live as I did, watching the pay-per-view here. Because I've been to some wrestling events, where I watched it live and it'll be great. But then when I buy the pay-per-view on DVD, it was like, this really wasn't that great. Or vice versa, where if I go to a wrestling event live, it'll be kind of stale. But then when I watch it on pay-per-view, on the DVDs, I'm like, oh, this pay-per-view wasn't that bad. So, but this was no exception. It was great live in person, and it's just as great, just as good watching it, on DVD. So once again, I highly recommend you guys get this Money in the Bank pay-per-view DVD. Yeah, by far it's one of my favorite DVDs in my collection. It's one of my favorite DVDs by far in my wrestling DVD collection. So I definitely recommend you guys get this DVD. So yeah, that's it. Comment, subscribe, let me know what you guys think. Later.